Okay, hold on. Oop, that's my cue. All right, hi guys. There I am, just trying to grab my last minute stuff here in this wacky world. Well, I don't know when the guys are going to show up. I'm running a little late myself, but the hot item here is the three topics for tonight. Now, what sparks this is one of our former subscribers got all bent out of shape over how we talk about Israel, apparently. So, and he's tired of us hearing about Iran. So, you know what? I listen to my audience. I try to please them. I try to make I address their greatest concerns. So here I be, the silly Israel argument. So when Jason gets on, and or Eric, we will dive into that and really start to put it together. I do not buy the argument that Israel controls everything or the Jews control everything. All you got to do is ask some questions, and it'll become very obvious that the whole thing is silly, and that you really have to focus your claims and your beliefs into a narrow beam, okay? And then we have something to talk about. Meantime, yes, the Walking Dead of Connecticut is just a point of endless concern. Wow, I don't know. There are too many people who are so out of touch in this state, and it concerns me, all right? If we're going to have a future, if we're going to address the issues in this state, I expect it. Here's what I would call an example of the Walking Dead, okay? Trending, push, ship, remove the space, who is that? Shitty off. I hope to find out what that is. I think that's a bot. Now that I look at it. In any event, kind of related. It gets boring for some people. It might even get boring for me. But Connecticut Sentinel put up this argument. Oh, there he is, Mr. Big Picture himself. All right.
This guy does not fool around. He's already live 2 minutes in, man. If you're late for court, forget about it, man. He will not wait for you.
Well, you had a term for that. Pick it up, or what was that? The pickup.
Go big or go home. I don't know.
Yeah, you used that term once. But anyway, so I was just explaining. This is not a big thing to talk about, but the heading here is I'm talking about the second subject, the Walking Dead of Connecticut. So in this case, we are talking about the unions, the government unions. And so the Connecticut Sentinel had this article about how here we go again. You know, these union negotiators think they're so clever, right? They sit down and they try to work out a deal for more pension and healthcare benefits and try to put themselves in a more powerful position, blah, blah, So in this article, they talk about, shall we say, a certain provision that was negotiated in 2017 that the unions have now come to regret. And so the talk now is that for union negotiations for 2027, they're going to get rid of the thing they wanted in 2017. Well, what happened in 2017? You thought you had a good deal here with these extra payments into your pension plan and other new plans that are introduced. Well, I guess it didn't quite work out as expected, but it took them 10 years to figure it out, or 9, as the case may be. So these Looney Tune closet Marxists who want to negotiate a new union contract are going to have to go back and erase what they created in the first place. That's not exactly my idea of progress. Would that be your idea of progress, Jason?
No, my idea of progress would be to eliminate government unions, like what happened in Wisconsin about 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The existence of government unions in general is a conflict of interest because you're negotiating people against their own people.
Right. So
there's my idea of progress, if you really want to know.
We are in 100% agreement on that. So what we are stuck with here is a group of people who continue to insist on sort of, trying to run Connecticut. And you know what? Here's an interesting contrast. Let's try this. Ooh, Eli Benson, let's go be free. Hey, Court, to give you a non-global perspective for once, Lamont, got to go. Yeah, but there's nobody to replace him, and even that is a puppet show not worth that. Well, we can't help ourselves, Eli. We can't help ourselves, but you're right. We had this, I don't know if Eric's going to come on tonight or not, but, we had this discussion about, I think it was after you might have left last night. We were discussing, well, look, when you really look at these people, Lamont was not governor material. If you're honest, Ryan isn't governor material. There's a certain quality of leadership that you expect in people who are going to assume a position that's that important.
Like the kind of leadership Betsy McCoy was showing us earlier this year.
Yeah, but this is the thing that annoys us, right? Because, it's weird, all right? Let's just say it. If she pretended to be more moderate, would she have won?
Betsy, no.
Okay, she would have gotten, they still wouldn't have given her the time of day, huh?
No, because they had their selected choices already in mind with Aaron first and Ryan second.
Yeah, well, we see how that, well, okay. Right, so you're focused on the selected, not elected theme. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it is. I mean,
but
I saw firsthand last year when I ran against Ben myself.
All right. Well, then, maybe our perspective here is one that goes upstream in time.
Maybe the argument that we're having online so much right now is this idea of now that, the Barros is gone, basically, and now that, these primaries are over, we all have to unite behind the Republican Party, right? Well, that makes a lot of sense on the surface of it.
All right. Well, I'm not counting. Is Jonathan conceded?
I don't know if he's conceded officially, but I think so, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think so. And so I'll tell you that I sent him an email, and I said, look, Jonathan, I'm outraged by this at least as much as you are. I'm telling you right now, I am making myself available. I am going to devote time as you need to the canvassing. If we need to go knock on doors, I'm there. You just call me. I'm going with you. I'm going to help knock on those doors, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, do some exit polling that will contradict what the results were.
Yeah, well, this is not, strictly speaking, exit polling is right after the vote has taken place. Is it walking out of the poll?
Okay, this should be post-election polling, I guess you'd call it.
It's canvassing.
Okay, yeah.
Fancy term is canvassing. Okay, you could canvass before and you can canvass after.
Sure, canvassing covers it all.
Okay, so this is what needs to be done because we have these questions. And, but right now, I think part of it is that he has to talk to some people. He's got to figure out what he has to work with in order to go after this. That, to me, it's as simple as you take the voter list. One of the problems is, for better or for worse, and the Secretary of State is not going to be any help in this.
No.
So the problem is that he needs the voter roll results. In other words, when you go in the bowl, there on the table is the list. They got the ruler, the pen, and they cross out the names of the people who vote. Okay, after everything's done, they take that information, they go back to the office and create a whole new database that records who voted on that particular day.
Yeah, but what he would want to get, though, are the actual pieces of paper where they cross the lines through, not the later on stuff. Because that can be changed, that can be altered. So you want the actual pieces of paper with the lines through. That's what you should go for.
So I think that's the fight he's in the middle of. And mind you, he has to get this information from, I believe, in the 5th district, it's 23 towns. That's more than the average.
Sounds right.
So he's going to have issues getting all of that stuff. But that's what he has to do.
Yeah, because if he did, I guarantee you it would show a different result.
Yeah, well, you and I know the same thing. That said, the other thing, I mean, yes, we do need that, but the alternative is you get your list of Republicans in the 5th district and you just start knocking on doors. Hi, sir, did you vote? Yes or no? Write it down. And by the way, from a statistical point of view, all you need is around, I would argue, and this is overkill, by the way, I would argue that you need about 200 names. So I'm just in round numbers. Let's see here. I'm guessing, because you don't get this stuff online, but you can get it in the Secretary of State office. They don't make it easy. All right. In round numbers, let's say the 5th district, 720. There should be about 100,000 Republicans, registered Republicans in the 5th district, and roughly in the primary it would be less. So maybe at best 30,000 of the 100,000 would have voted in the primary.
They only had a total of about 12,000 votes come out.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
that's horrible. That's horrible. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So that's sad.
Here's a key question I have.
Yeah.
Like in Waterbury alone, there are about 12 different voting sites.
Yep. Okay.
Which tells me that the number of people that showed up at each site must have been minuscule. Or like in the 2-digit numbers, right?
Okay. Well, in my experience,
you only have 12,000 votes for the whole district.
Okay. In my experience, since I've worked a lot of polls, you will typically see maybe 300 to 400 people at a poll on a given voting day.
You're talking about you're talking about general elections, though, like presidential and 2-year. We're talking about primary here. It's gonna be a lot less.
Yes. So in a primary, it could get down to 100. Maybe.
I was at the Cheshire poll. that day.
Yes.
I spent about an hour there. Granted, it was raining. About 5 cars showed up during that entire hour.
Okay.
And one of them didn't even go in the building. It pulled into a space, and about a minute and a half went by. It was raining, and it just left. So only 4 of the 5 even went into the building. Terrible. Okay. And and I would say that I know that's why I say it's mathematically indisputable, because I know for sure that John got at least 600 or 700 people to register to vote for the very first time to vote for John. So that would be 600 or 700 right there, which means you're trying to say that less than 1,000 people voted for him in all the rest of the districts. And I just don't believe that. So my question is this. Yes. You've worked at polling places before. Here's my question. Once you have your account in your polling place, do you report that directly to the media, or no? It goes to a central location, right? Where they then report to the media, correct?
So phase 1 is that the polling moderator runs tests on the machines and then reports out the results. You have people waiting to get the results, members of the campaign, people in the press, and then they tack the results on the wall, and then they get called in. Typically, now, yes, they're going to get reported to the state and immediately, but so the campaign gets their numbers, the press gets the numbers.
Do they all get them at the same time? I guess that's my question.
Roughly speaking, yes, about the same time. Okay,
so it's hard to change it then.
Well, all right.
It's hard to change at that point.
No, that would be incorrect.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. You know what I'm getting at here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Let's say I'm running a poll in Cheshire, and at the end of the day, I have 80 votes for DeBarros and 60 votes for Shea, and I release that to all these people that are waiting. The state all together, all waiting, right? The state campaigns, the media, all at once, right there. So I can't alter that number at that point.
All right. So let me explain.
Okay.
Part 1, what they do check on is that there's, when people come in, clerks, this is what I used to do, sit there and mark that a person just came in, and there'd be like an hourly tally. So between 1 and 2 o'clock, 10 people came in. Between 2 and 3, 30 people came in. Between 4 and 5, 50 people came in. Okay. So you're going to add that up at the end of the day, and that's supposed to correspond to the number of ballots, paper ballots, that are in the system.
Right.
Okay. We do not count the paper ballots at the end of the day. All we do is check the count for people who walked in against the people, who were crossed off on that list. If those 2 sets of numbers line up, we're happy. We think we have an accurate count. All right, fine. But that says nothing about the second part, Jason.
That's just the count of the people that showed up, basically, though. Not really. Right.
To that extent, it's an accurate count.
Okay.
But the part they don't talk about is the ability to take, let's say, 100 votes, and let's say candidate A had 70 votes and candidate B had 30, and when nobody's looking, the machine could
flip them over.
That's right.
All right.
The total would still be the same.
Right.
Okay.
That's my point.
Nobody knows who voted for who.
Result.
Right. Okay. This is the issue. This is why we need to have hand counting of ballots. This is why they're putting up a fight over it.
Why not do a tote board every hour? Have a tote board. Okay, this candidate has 16 so far. This candidate is 3. Next hour.
Well, the machine, again, we can't trust the machine, but yes, at any given, because look,
transparency.
The ability to manipulate the results with the algorithms can include a timing part. Okay, flip the votes at this time.
Right, so they can still cheat.
Right. Okay, so
this is why machines and voting don't match at all. You got to go back to hand counting, is what you said. Is absolutely right.
Yes. Well, this fight will continue. I just until we get it straightened out.
Pandora's box. It's like saying, "Hey, we're going to have our wars, but no more guns allowed." I mean, no one's going to listen to that. That's the thing.
Yeah. So anyway, Eli's got silly. By the way, I'm excited for this in court. Wonder what Jason's going to say too. All right. Yeah. Let's get to this. Wait, hold on. Everything you're saying.
We're going to stay away from Iran for a little while. Okay.
Yeah, we know. Well, the mules. That's another story. Yeah. But yes. Okay. There's still back end ties to a country. Yes, we know. Yeah, Venezuela, Serbia, maybe Italy, and there's an outside chance we should be talking about Spain and Germany. Yes.
Can't trust
all those things. Right? And yes, notice I'm not talking about Iran tonight yet. Okay, all hell's breaking loose in the Mideast, but I'm not going to talk about it tonight.
At least not for a little while, anyway. For the
okay. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm going to bring it up. All right, let me see if did I bring it in?
I think Eric makes a good point a few weeks ago when he talked about how, like, people generally on Earth are used to a higher top-down sort of government, I guess. A top-down sort of.
Yeah, ignore this. I'm trying to get rid of this.
People are generally on Earth, in general, are more accustomed to a top-down authoritarian-style government than they are to a self-imposed people first type of government, because that's what they're used to. That's what the whole world knows, really. Unless you're a born American, you don't really know much else. Oh, here we go with this area again. That's where I'm going to go to get Africa off to get to 7 continents.
Hold on, I'm goofing up here. Okay,
this 7 continents. That's how I'm going to get Africa off my list.
Hold on.
I'm going to Kuko, or whatever that place is called. Cuckoo land.
Okay. All right, so now I'm going to try this here. So there's this other, just threw together this other piece here that should spark the discussion rather quickly.
I told you this already. Look how she painted those letters. Isn't that beautiful?
What, you painted them? Or you're talking about the sign that Melissa made?
Melissa, well, she didn't make the sign. She painted the letters. She made me another sign that says the same thing, which I'll show you guys someday. But here she painted the letters a brighter white so we can now see them.
Oh, okay. There's so many shades of white. That's
the brightest one she could find.
Okay, so here we go. Ready? Boom. All right, let's have a look.
Oh, here we go. Is that the right one? Oh, no.
That's the right one. Israel, get real. Okay.
Oh, so, no.
All right. Israel controls everything.
I'm assuming that you're having, this is a satire in some way.
Yes, it is. I just seriously. Okay, so let's ask the questions. Does Israel control me? No.
No.
Okay. Am I not a part of everything?
My mother converted to Judaism when she got married when I was in my 30s, and I almost didn't try to wheel me in though. So okay, no on that one.
Right. Okay. Does Israel control you, Jason?
No.
Okay. Does Israel control your children?
I hope not. No.
Does Israel control your pets? Maybe there's a little.
Wait a minute. That's why.
What? Yeah. What?
That's why Lenny's been acting the way he's been acting. She's converted to Judaism.
Oh, there you go.
That's why she's out there. You know, that's why she's stashing all her little cat treats in little piles everywhere. She's got them all saved up. Like that's what's going on over there. Okay, so yes on that one. But go ahead, next one.
Does Israel control the traffic lights?
Sometimes it feels that way, but no.
Does Israel control your thermostat?
I hope not.
Does Israel control your refrigerator?
Well, when she eats hummus, it does.
Yeah.
I can't stand hummus.
Hummus. All right, please. Okay.
But yeah,
you know where I'm going.
No.
Okay. So, in an effort to try and, quote, get real, let's focus on what they think people in Israel are trying to control. That would be, wait for it, decision makers, right?
Sure.
Okay. So maybe that's the real discussion here. Does Israel control decision
Who's
makers?
the decision maker? Donald Trump in the United States military.
Well, there's a lot of decision makers. Oh, by the way, all right, I'm going to just get this out of the way, and my point has been made. Come on, remove. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
on the Arche.
yeah.
Okay.
So here's the one. Here's the one. This is a serious discussion. This thing about Israel almost becomes like a shiny object. The discussion really needs to center on, if we're talking about decision makers, a concept we've talked about before, the captured elite.
Mm-hmm.
People have been bribed and agree to work for a foreign power, the captured elite.
Sure.
Trivia question. In America, do we have more captured elite working for communist China or for Israel?
Captured looking for communist China, probably communist China.
Hell yeah.
About like many times would be my
Oh yeah.
well to the yeah.
Okay, so what should this discussion really be about?
China.
Thank you.
Let me get something. Our real enemies. How about that?
Hell yeah. All right. So look. All right. This is all right. An apologist alert. Beep beep beep. Apologist alert. Okay. This is the way. All right. Let me try to set up in a peculiar way here, because I was thinking about this all day, and now is my big opportunity. First of all, we know that Judaism is composed of several groups, right?
Sure. Every religion has many sects.
You have Orthodox Jews. You got conservative
strange people.
Jews.
I also met, but hey.
You got the ultra-Orthodox Jews.
Really strange people. I have
right,
to admit.
and then you start then the like the Hasidim, and then these other subgroups here, like in New York City. Okay, so you have all these groups. Those groups, as you may realize, go way back in history. These are what you might call the original Jews. Okay, the down home real Jews. Okay,
once they go back 4,000 years.
Right.
Yeah.
However, we do have a branch of Judaism that is of more recent vintage. Would you care to guess the name of this more recent?
Hasidic Jews?
No.
Okay, who?
Oh, that's a good point. No, they're even more recent. That's very interesting.
I knew they were relatively recent.
All right, yeah, no, I'm thinking of the Reform Jews.
Okay, kind of like born-again Christians in a way?
Say what?
Like the born-again Christians?
No. Reform Judaism, still very, quote, Jewish in their outlook.
Okay.
Was formed, as I understand it. Here, why don't I just make sure I've got my facts straight here? It's my understanding that Reform Judaism started in the 19th century. And when did Reform Judaism start?
Probably the 17th century.
Yeah. All right, so they're saying the Reform Judaism was born of the French Revolution.
Oh, the 17th, 18th century then.
Well, it says here early 19th century. So, shortly after the French Revolution. And so my understanding is that you had a group of Jews, let's say French Jews, who were looking at the world around them and everything that was going on. And mind you, this is in the context now of them being oppressed, right? Is that okay? I'm not being unfair here.
That's from the beginning, those guys.
Right. So this group of Jews, and I'm sure, where's Ricky? Ricky, where are you? I'm sure I'm going to get beat over the head. Court, don't you know? Court, 19th century, the Illuminati, the Rothschilds,
Oh, here we go. Oh, the Rothschilds. Now I know about the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds are the Rockefellers of England.
Well, but they're Jewish, and there's a whole Rothschild family, and
Rothschild families are not good people.
Well, okay, but the point is that
they're elitists.
I think it's fair to say. All right, we got to understand that there's.
I'm not holding that against Israel now.
You got to understand There's this thing
They're
called
Jewish.
the family office. Stop interrupting. There's this thing called the family office. They kind of originated the idea, and the way it worked was because they had a big family, they would have their own pot of money, and if you, Joachim Rothschild, wanted to borrow some money for a business, you could borrow it, but you had to pay back into the family bank at the prevailing interest rate.
Right.
Everybody in the family did that.
That was considered a sin at one time, by the way.
Well, it grew their wealth.
It was called usury.
Okay, you can say that, but it made them rich. It was a big part of making them financially powerful.
Originally, we as human beings in the Western world considered, en masse, in whole, charging interest to be usury.
All right, Albert. Okay, again with Albert Pike. All right, we'll get to Albert Pike. But look, the reform movement was a real thing, and you have people who identify as being part of Reform Judaism. But he wants to bring up the part about Zionists. See the problem. All right, I don't want to. Let me. I'm going to put a pin on that. Okay, I'm going to come back to talking about the Zionists. I want to finish my point about Reform Judaism. Reform Judaism stands out as separate from the rest of, quote, historical Judaism, because historical Judaism kept to itself. We're not going to be affiliated with Goyim. That's why you had so much intermarrying going on. That's why you have genetic diseases, such as with the Ashkenazis. They did not intermarry. Okay? Now, Reform Judaism comes along, tries to loosen things up a little bit, but the key point is that Reform Judaism shifted from the perspective of being insular to having to go out into the world and, quote, do good. Right? That was the underlying concept of Reform Judaism.
Okay.
Meantime, so period, paragraph. Now we're going to move to his concern here about Zionism. How old, Jason, is the phrase "the promised land"?
Probably 4,000 years.
Okay.
That goes back to the book of Exodus, right?
Okay. So I don't know. Is that where Zionism started? Eli, if you want to check in on that.
What is Zionism anyway?
Okay, so Zionism.
So need to spread Judaism around the world?
No, not so much.
Okay, then what is it?
It's the idea. It comes back the way I understand it. Somebody else can straighten me out. We can look it up. But the heart of Zionism is the promised land. God said we could have this land. This land is ours. He has promised it to us. It is the promised land.
And that pretty much is what Israel is today, by the way.
Well, this, more or less.
A lot of it, anyway.
And so you have this argument about whether or not they didn't get all the promised land they were supposed to get.
Probably not.
It gets silly, all right, as far as I'm concerned. You have your country, you built it up. See, just to ask the question, all right, see, I thought Zionism started in Europe with the English. Well, you got to think about the concept. The concept is, this is my land.
Can I just say that I think
that's an old idea. That is as old as Judaism itself, as far as I know.
Discussion. You know what this reminds me of, this discussion? It reminds me of talking about an abusive marriage where the husband's always beating the wife. And then we sit around a table and say, she doesn't make him dinner on time enough. I heard that she might want to hurt him someday, or might want to, do something to him. And, she's a real pain in the ass for being too aggressive.
Wait, are you saying the beaten wife is Israel? Or the Jews?
The beaten wife is Israel. And everybody, we're sitting around blaming the beaten wife instead of blaming the husband. Listen. Let me speak for a minute. It's not Zionists that are going around blowing up bars, blowing up buildings, blowing up U.S. Navy ships, taking people hostage. Zionists are not doing that, as far as I know. Okay? That's not happening. Okay? It is jihadists, okay, that we should be talking about. Jihadists who have openly declared that they want to kill all the Westerners and kill all the Jews and kill all the Christians, okay? And are going around and doing it. They're doing it. They're blowing up people everywhere all around the world. Those are the people we should be focused on, not Zionists. I don't want to hear it, really. It's bullshit. Zionists. A little country the size of what? Oregon or something, sitting along the fucking Mediterranean
I think
Sea.
it might be
Everybody wants
smaller
to
than Rhode
fly
Island.
to the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah.
They're the Zionists. They're the problem. I mean, the whole thing, the discussion, I feel stupid talking about it. How many buildings have the Zionists blown up in the last 20 years? That we can absolutely say the Zionists blew up these buildings,
Well,
or killed these people, or taken these people hostage, or have declared, the end of the Western world. How many Zionists have talked about killing Americans? I want to see the documentation of the Zionists talking about killing Americans. Are there any? Is there any that I know of? No. So why are we talking about Zionists? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There. Now you go ahead and talk.
okay.
Ridiculous. It's just
Okay.
stupid.
USS Liberty.
Too.
USS Liberty.
USS Cole.
No, all right. That's different. I'm talking about the you're acting like a liberal. Stop changing the subject. The USS Liberty.
What about it?
You know what happened about to the USS Liberty?
Zionists blew up the USS Liberty?
Absolutely, the Israelis attacked the USS Liberty and killed Americans. The problem was
When did this happen?
What?
When did this happen?
1968, I think,
Okay.
69, something like that. So it was during the Six-Day War. And the problem that the Israelis had was that the USS Liberty was there electronically eavesdropping on everything. And the Israelis did not want somebody eavesdropping on them. And their answer was to shoot up the USS Liberty.
Okay. How many American soldiers were killed there?
Oh, some number. I don't remember.
Okay.
But people died. And
is there another example of Zionists attacking Americans, or declaring death to Americans, or blowing up? How many terrorist attacks have the Zionists? One. We've got one.
Hey, so you're in on the Israeli debate here, Eric.
No, you've named one. The USS Liberty in 1968.
Hey guys,
how's it going, Eric? You named the USS. Okay, this. Do you know the details about this 1968?
Did you hear the whole story about the USS Liberty?
Well, my understanding.
Did you hear what the veterans that were on that? There's like several of them that were on the ship, and they tell the whole thing in detail.
Okay, fill us in.
It's not good.
No, I mean, I know.
Even if I grant you,
I mean,
let's just
horrible.
Yeah,
I mean that was our October.
Okay,
6th
so
or 7th or whatever. I mean, what they did, they were on the radio, and I think it was the Johnson administration, right? That was because JFK had already because JFK had already been assassinated. So the LBJ administration, and they told them to stand down, and basically they were left for dead. Dude.
Okay, just to grant you, just to move along, let's grant you this. It was the worst thing in the world, okay? It was October 7th. I'm going to grant you that it was the absolute worst thing that's ever happened, blah, 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 okay? So we can move on from that, all right?
But how can you when nobody's taken ownership, taken ownership or been accountable to it?
Oh, wait a minute. So we don't know for sure that it was the Zionists that did this then?
Yes, we do.
Well,
yeah, we do.
Said no one took ownership.
What are you talking about?
No, accountability. We know who did it.
Okay.
It's just there's been no accountability.
Okay, so let's say it was the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. We'll give you that, okay? Now,
that's a little extreme, but okay.
Okay, but I'm giving you the most of your argument. That was the most horrible thing, okay? I guess that's the reason why that one thing that happened in 1968 versus everything that Iran has done. I guess that's the reason why the Zionists are the biggest threat. Then I guess maybe we should just focus on Zionists being the bad guys because of that one thing that happened in 1968. That's what we all need to really focus on.
All right.
Again, I mean, I think.
Them alone, you know.
Look, no, I don't think any intelligent person is not going to deny that the Islamic ideology that is now proliferating here in the United States is not a good look. However, that said, and this is kind of a debate that I went back and forth with a Jewish gentleman here in town.
Not Mr. Flat Earth.
No, not him.
Not him.
No,
okay.
no.
Is that the guy?
No. It's not important. What's important is that we got into this dialogue, and he conceded and agreed with me, with respect to, one of the things I pointed out to him was that many secular Jews here in the United States are Democrats. That's just a fact.
It's hard to explain, but yes.
Okay, right. So many of them have sanctioned and been on board with a lot of this, I guess what we're calling illegal immigration proliferating in the United States, or the consistent crossing of the borders and so forth. So they've co-signed on all of this stuff, which doesn't make any sense, because I mean, even though they're not practicing Jews, I would say that many of them who support or wish the United States to continue supporting Israel and so forth, and yet it's like, how can you reconcile that? It's like all of these illegals that are including, but not limited to Muslims, but many of them have been coming to the United States, and they're culpable with it. So how do you reconcile that? The thing of it is, Jason, I think most people don't have or many people don't have a well-rounded understanding of what Zionism is.
I'm not talking about secular Jews in America. I'm talking about the nation of Israel. I'm talking about what's going on over in the Middle East.
I understand, but many secular Jew, I think it's
the Middle East. I mean,
look, what is it? Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is extremely liberal. I mean, it's like probably one of the most liberal places on planet Earth. But
most big cities are.
Well, right, but to the point, we're subsidizing that. We're the taxpayer. We are subsidizing that entire operation over there. Full stop.
What would be your policy? Just cut Israel loose and let it be overrun into the ocean, and we'll see what we can do after that.
Well, then you could say that you could.
Without our help, that's what would happen.
Look, Israel was there before the United States ever got involved,
well,
or even was it? Yeah, yes, really.
We set up Israel in 1948.
Jews were in that part of the world long before, and stayed in that part of the world long before the United States was even a thing. So, what's her name? Her name escapes me right now, but she was talking about, the Jews that lived in that area there. It was run by the Ottoman Turk, or the Ottoman Empire at the time, and Muslims, and the Jews had to walk on one side of the street, and the Muslims or whatever had to walk on the other side. And so if a Jew saw or Muslims coming on their side of the street, they had to go over. And then they also had to pay what's called a yizya, or a jizya. Yeah, it's like
Eric, let me ask you that. Eric, let me ask you this. If you were in control of the purse strings, okay, if you were the president, if you were the dictator, you had all control of it.
Right, I don't want to be a dictator.
Well, listen, I'm going to dub you dictator for the next 5 minutes. You're stuck with a job. What would you do? What would you do with Israel? What would you do? Would you just cut them off and just go home and forget about what happened? Let them be on their own? What would you do?
There's a term for this. You're setting up. I'm not sure if this is.
You're setting up a false binary choice, is what it is.
Yeah, but is it ad hominem?
No.
What is?
No, not binary choice. Would you just freeze or would you lower like a little bit? Would you cut it off altogether? Or would you increase the aid? If there's a fluid here.
I would say that Israel should not get any more or any less than we give any other country, and particularly those that don't like us very much. We continue to give them money as well. So I didn't sign up for this. I mean, look, the problem is that I'm here, and if you want to really split hairs, none of us really had a say in actually being brought in, onto planet Earth, for that matter. But here we are.
That's so big stuff for you right there. So
right. So
my son used to say, "I got born."
Look, I believe charity begins at home. The United States is my home, and I think that we should take care of things here at home first before we begin taking care of anybody else. We're not doing it, and I would say that you know, all of the chest thumping about
what
Israel.
What are we not doing to take care of ourselves here at home?
Where do you want me to start? I mean,
we're not giving people enough money. We're not investing enough in our. Now, I'll give you one.
Well, okay, how about
we're not investing in our bridges and our roads and our infrastructure enough. I'll give you that one.
Billions. You know, all the money, all of the money that we have sent Israel, even in the past 10 years, would have probably gone to rebuild a lot of the infrastructure.
I think that sounds great, but we're in the age of the internet and in this era, we can't just be isolationists. It won't work. They'll come and get us here if we try to shut down and come home.
I disagree with you.
Oh, how? They've already infiltrated our country. We already have the mayor of New York.
I mean, whose fault is that?
Jason,
it's our own.
Jason, who's they? Who are you calling they?
I'm talking about the red-green wave, baby. The communists and the Islamists are trying to overrun our country.
Newsflash, they're already here.
Right. And they've been here, yes.
That's my point. Right. And the key to defeating them is to taking out their mothership, Iran, by the way. One of their motherships.
You know, this also speaks to
thing. We can't just the oceans don't protect us anymore. I mean, this is a worldwide problem.
Well, right, and I think who was it? I think Ann Coulter sort of.
Whoever was. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Ann Coulter was addressing this too. It's just like there's nowhere Americans or people that wish to be Americans the way America was intended to be. There's no longer any place for us to go.
If we use our country, there's no place to go. That's right.
No, but this kind of addresses somewhat the founding fathers were very averse to the foreign element coming in and undermining the Constitution.
I agree.
Because as I continue to reiterate,
founding fathers lived in an age when it took 6 months to get here from Europe on a boat.
Who? What?
The founding fathers lived in an era where if you wanted to just to travel or talk to anybody,
not 6 months, but more like maybe a couple of months.
Yeah,
anyway,
So the situation is much different than it is now in terms of.
Right. Somebody has to remind me. What are you two guys arguing about?
We're talking about isolationism versus foreign involvement, essentially.
Okay.
Well, but you keep going off on all these different tangents, and you got to stay like on like one thing because.
So when you say that you would not give Israel any more than you give other countries, what do you mean? We don't give Iran any money at all.
Well, I don't know. I'm just of the opinion it's just like the Middle East. Israel has been an aircraft carrier in the sand for the United States.
Yep.
I don't agree with, and I don't agree with any of the foreign policy there.
For all the traditional Jews,
I think
more than that.
we've done the regime change, two-step for the last 50 years, and it has not done anything for us at all.
Well, guess what? Donald Trump understands that very well.
Right, and so does. Look, I'm not anti-Israel, dude. I mean, this is part of the problem, and I don't agree with the Zionist ideology. I just don't. That's my prerogative to not agree with it. I'm America first, and I think any Jews living here in the United States, along with anyone from Ghana or anyone from Yemen or Turkey or Istanbul or Thailand should assimilate into a culture.
100%.
And this has just been we've been sleepwalking for the last century into all this.
Yeah,
that's just the truth.
We allowed our country to turn from a melting pot into a salad bowl, and that's a really good quote. I heard it.
That's a funny quote.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're not mixing together,
Yeah, I got to. Is Rick going to be joining us?
I think he's got another job.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So he's going to be doing what he's got to do. That's
right.
Okay, so the silly Israel argument. I don't know if we've resolved it, but the place I want.
I think we're not that far apart, really. I mean, I just think that, my opinion, that the overall fate of our free world, the land of the free that we live in, which is truly the land of the free, even now, even with all the attacks we've had, even with all the the Federal Reserve Act, all these terrible things, we're still by far the best place to live in the world, the freest in terms of freedom of movement, freedom of speech, whatever. And for that to survive in this day and age, we do have to keep an eye on what's going on in the rest of the world. We can't let ourselves become the more other countries in the world that also have these human rights, the better off we're going to be. And
I want to add a rejoinder to what you're talking about, Jason. So give me a chance. I need time for my rejoinder.
Do it. Rejoin it.
Yes. So let's start with Ellen DeGeneres. How did that work out?
She makes me laugh every time I hear that name.
Yeah, she had to come back home, didn't she? After she said, "I am leaving."
Did Rosie come back too? Rosie O'Donnell?
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Okay. Now we have another one to add to the pile. Are you ready? There's a person, a transgender male who calls himself a woman, who gave Trump the finger and moved to the Netherlands because it was certain that it would be better received in the Netherlands. Well, it had a little change of heart and discovered that life in the Netherlands was not what it was cracked up to be, and begged to come back to America.
The land of the free.
Yep, there you go.
Hey, I have this idea I want to run by you guys. Tell me what you think. I'm going to buy a wig, nice blonde female wig, stick it on my head, and I'm going to take a camera live, and I'm going to the state capitol, Democratic Senate, offices or whatever, and use the ladies' room. And then the same thing, maybe for better viewing, I'll take it to a local community college or something and try my hand in the ladies' room there. With the idea of you better not stop me now, because lately I've been feeling like a little bit like a woman, and I might want to.
Where's your wig?
I don't think
Where is your wig? You can keep the beard, by the way, but where's your wig?
Else the same, just the white wig, just the blonde wig, and lately, I have to say, lately I've been feeling a little bit like a woman, so I think I want to, just see how that goes over. Kind of like what they're doing in the WNBA with these guys that want to join the WNBA. I think we got to call these people out of the carpet of this crap.
Yeah, look,
I hope that's what happens.
Yeah, so there's a group on Facebook that I should have known better than to participate in, but nonetheless I have. I think it's Enfield Open Forum or something like that, or something about Enfield. But it's like about 7,600 people that participate.
A local thing or whatever.
Well, I'm guessing that it's probably not just Connecticut. There are probably people from other parts of the country in there. But
what is it?
It's let me see if I can find it here really quick.
All right. Meantime, Eli's really chattering away here. I'm not quite sure where he's coming from. A complete system overhaul is difficult. So I don't know if you're talking about an individual or a nation here. It's like removing your lenses and finally putting on the lenses you've actually needed. No.
Look, the real big picture thing is here. We're never going to solve our national problems without a civil war. I'm sorry. It's sad. I hate to say it.
Oh, there we go with that again.
Never going to get there without it. It's just the way history dictates it.
Oh, it's Enfield, Connecticut.
Yeah.
It's Enfield, Connecticut, really open forum. That's what it is.
And so, of course, they're not really open, individual.
Well, look, I mean, it's basically it's a shit show. I mean, the whole thing, and most of them are lit libs, and they're it's amazing how you can trigger like an entire cross section. I mean, they are so hyper fixated on Donald Trump. Look, whatever Donald Trump's sins are, I'm sure that he will atone for either in this life or the next. Anybody, nobody is absolved of being able to skate uphill. I'm just sorry. I don't believe that. But they don't offer any solutions, and their only response to any kind of intelligent, It's like when you want to, for example, like when you want to talk about the fact that all of the stuff, the grooming of kids and what they're doing to the children in schools and everything.
On the left wing, on the far
yeah,
left.
right. It's just like, and you point that out, and then they'll just respond with Donald Trump this or Donald Trump that or maggot this or maggot that or whatever, So that's and there's no there is no intelligent, like cogent, coherent response to the problems that they're just hyper fixated on it, and that's all they want to talk about.
And they worship Anthony Fauci, who's a lot closer to Adolf Hitler than Donald Trump will ever be.
Well, and I guess they're also caught up in this whole left-right paradigm, which I'm somewhat averse to. I spoke with a gentleman today down at Grass Island. He's the dock master. His name is Adam.
You've been hanging out at Grass Island?
Yes. I'm getting familiar with, the
lay of the land. Sure,
lay of the land. Yeah. And so we were yucking it up for a little while, but he was, telling me he considers himself a federalist. He believes in a constitution.
The federal government, yes.
Yeah, like but he doesn't like what's going on, like ideologically. He doesn't give a crap. Well, he's kind of like me. I don't give a crap what people do in their bedrooms, and I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do in their bedrooms. But I don't want that stuff. I don't want my town hall decorated with.
Liberals stay out of my pocketbook and conservatives stay out of my bedroom.
Yeah,
that's kind of
exactly. Okay, I don't want that. I don't want to see that stuff. I don't want it in my face. Look, I don't that would be the equivalent of me with my branch of Christendom or my branch of faith, and a group of us got together and we were allowed to fly. I mean, it's like if you're going to allow this group mentality, this group ideology they get an entire month too, which is really bizarre. We celebrate 4th of July for one day. And
we used to celebrate it for one day. Now we got every weekend in July filled with fireworks.
Okay, so what you have is dueling narratives, and the propaganda for one side of the narrative is already planned out what they need to do to try to get people to accept them. And sorry, we're not accepting you. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
So Eric, another compliment. You got another compliment here. Just a reminder. Where did he put it? Yes. Let me just read it. So Eli weighs in. Similar to DJ, I've had profound experience in my life which radically shift the way I look at things, but I am hinting at the positives with Eric's talk on beatitudes, for example.
Yeah. Well, that's I can't remember who. Well, I think it was actually the founder of my church, where she said that if the Bible had the place in classrooms that all of the other textbooks did, the country and perhaps maybe even the world would be the better for it. Mm-hmm. And so the point that's being made there is that, it contains a lot of the essential recipes for how to treat each other, how to interact with people, how to be social, and how to be, honest and trustworthy and true. And that's another thing. I was talking to, can't remember who I was talking to earlier today about.
Wasn't the dock master down at Grass Island?
No, the subject of currency came up. I can't remember who. I was speaking with somebody earlier today. I think maybe it was on the phone or something. But the subject of currency came up, I know who it was. It's this guy. He's from Belgium, actually, and he's married to a. He goes to Thailand 6 months out of the year because his wife and his family are over there.
Bangkok.
So, I don't know. I don't think it's
okay.
that. It's some other place. But my point is that he was. I said that the United States is the only country in the world that has printed "In God We Trust" on its currency. Now, that I looked up the history of that. It goes back to 1864. It was a reverend. Can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he had actually prompted, I guess the government to consider putting that on our currency. And so which, when we get into discussions about money, it's just like we've talked about, Court, you and I have talked about, to some degree, about like, what is money? What is,
Right.
where does money get its value?
Right. And there's a difference between money and currency.
Well, well, yes. I mean, categorically, sure. But to me, there is an ontological overlapping sense of
ontology alert. Ontology alert.
Yeah. So of what currency and money actually is, and we call it a medium of exchange, but it's what we place value on. And so when you have a currency that says "In God we trust," the foundation of our culture and our society is based on a transcendent ontological principle. And so, in other words, if people put their faith in God, not in men, but you ever heard the saying, a man is as good as his word, or whatever?
Sure.
We're all familiar with that. So in other words, you tell somebody that you're going to be at a certain place, or that you're going to do a certain job, and then if you don't do it, you sully your reputation, and then now a person cannot put their trust in you. So this is another monetary term, trust. That is used.
Well, it's a legal term too.
Right.
We talk about how we don't trust one another, but did you know? I mean, think about it fundamentally. Every time you drive by a car on a major road, you're trusting that other driver is not going to turn his car into your path and kill you.
Yep. Every day.
Every day.
So, and I think the reason why, there's a variety of different reasons why most of the world has put their faith in American currency, is because, for me, and I only speak for myself when I say, I believe why the United States has been the world currency, or the dominant currency in the world, for as long as it has been, is because of our trust system, or our cultural system, and that sort of thing. So my attribution is to that, and that's why people, it's just like, that's the U.S. dollar is good money versus another currency. It's like how many countries have printed themselves out of existence? I think there's been a number of countries in the last century, anyway.
Almost us in the last decade.
Well, look, I mean, and this is kind of the point that Ron Paul made, which I agreed with. He said, the United States, for like maybe the first 60 or 70 years after the Constitution was, established, that we were more or less a solvent country, and money actually had genuine value.
Yeah.
But he said this segue away from
the Federal Reserve Act in 1913. After that is when it really went downhill.
Yeah. Fiat currency. Fiat.
Right.
After the Civil War, but then after
right. So you had to create. So if you look at all of the sequence of events that happened, because the founding fathers were entirely averse to a central bank. So you had the creation of a central bank in 1913. 1 year later, we're in World War I, right?
So, and that's why Andrew Jackson is a very underrated president, because he staved off the attempts to create a central bank.
I think there was an assassination attempt made on his life too.
Yeah, he was like he was kind of like a pompous guy, like Donald Trump too. He's like the Donald Trump of his era. He fought that central bank, and he won. And he put off what eventually happened in 1913. He put off what would have happened in the 1830s.
Yeah, this is why I say, like, look, I don't particularly care for Donald Trump as like his personality.
Yeah, his personality's never been my favorite.
I have, and none of us do have any idea of, the slings and arrows that entire administration is probably having to deal with. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in there to see or witness what's going on, but I think our president, our current president, does have the ear of like people like Tucker Carlson.
And mention him.
I don't have a problem with.
Yes, did you see it? You didn't
what?
See how many? Here, let's see if I can read it. It was back up a ways here. Oh, right.
All right, with that,
he said, "Oh, you going to bed?"
I'm gonna go to bed. I'm taking off, you guys.
Yeah, listen, dude, you are terrific. You're a great guy. You are the man.
When are you supposed to meet? Today, tomorrow?
We're gonna talk Monday, and next Friday we're gonna put everything together.
Okay, all right.
Before I go, I'm gonna do one more quiz.
Okay, yes, all right.
You ready? This time, I am a person, Court.
Yes.
I expect you to get this one because you're a historical guy. You ready?
Yeah.
First one is my grandfather was a slave.
Oh, grandfather?
My grandfather was a slave. Second one, I am a social scientist and educator.
Social scientist, educator. Thomas Sowell.
No. Nice guess. Good guess. Number 3, you'll get it after this one. I founded the Tuskegee Institute.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of that guy, but you would have had people like crap. The name.
My grandfather was a slave. I'm a social scientist and educator, and I founded the Tuskegee Institute. Got a guess? Eric? No?
I'm gonna, it's gonna be like, I know that guy.
Yeah, I know. Number 4, I share my last name with the first president. I share my last name with our first president. That's a give me.
Okay.
I share my last name with the first
Washington.
But we're trying to remember the first name.
Oh, you can't get the first name either.
I don't remember, no.
My nickname was the Great Accommodator. My grandfather was a slave. I'm a social scientist and educator. I founded the Tuskegee Institute. I share my last name with the first president, and my nickname is the Great Accommodator.
I
can see his picture, and I cannot pull out
Booker T. Washington.
Oh yeah, right. It was on the tip of my tongue.
All right. Okay. Wow. So we're all
gentlemen. I'm out of here.
Okay.
Have a great evening, everybody. For Common Sense News and Entertainment. God bless Connecticut. God bless America. Remember, the fight is always between the state and family. Good night, everybody. Good night, Eric. Good night, Court.
Good night, Jason.
Good night, John Boy.
All right. So, are you ready for the definition of money and currency?
The dictionary definition of it?
Yeah. So here, currency refers to the physical forms of money that are in circulation. Okay, so stuff that you could handle is in circulation.
Right. Greenbacks or paper money, notes, treasury notes, whatever.
Okay, money, on the other hand, is a broader concept that refers to assets like stocks and bonds and properties. Now, I wouldn't think of property as money, but the point is that it's convertible. So maybe that's the idea. Money is something that's convertible. Currency is something that you use to acquire things. It's not a very
well. I guess there's an attribution to things that we value in this world, and so the I guess you could say the human sense of currency or money is predicated on that which can be consumed or used, or it has some use or value within the context of the human condition or the human experience. Sure.
Yeah. So it's still not a sharp definition, but it would be about liquidity. Currency is more liquid than money, but you still have money which is very liquid as well. You can turn around and sell a stock or a bond, get your money, and use it.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that. But in the meantime, I don't know if it's you, me, got to get it down on this. But Eli, here you go. Talking about Tucker Carlson, used to watch Fox News on the daily every day. Then when Tucker got fired, I started feeling like things were off. That was the first crack, if you will, for me. And if your guys got thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it.
I thought this guy from yesterday wasn't going to follow us anymore.
Yeah, that was Evil Empire.
Yeah, he's back. He's back with us.
It's Evil Empire?
Yeah. He's made several comments in the comment section.
I see Eli Benson, but I don't see Evil Empire. It's all evil. It's all Eli Benson here.
No.
On YouTube?
In the comments.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments.
Evil Empire 466. The latest comment was at 10:03, which is like 2 minutes ago.
Okay, all right, I'm looking. Let me check. Well, this may raise a little mystery here. 10:03. Oh, there he is. Yeah. Okay.
He has a question about the settlement of Pale.
I'm sorry. Question about settlement of Pale. Yeah, I don't know that.
Maybe you can educate us.
I don't know what settlement of Pale is, so maybe he can tell. The bullshit Titanic sinking was actually. I've heard this.
Well, I mean that is a plausible theory. I mean I've heard stranger theories, but that it could be, was it coincidence or was it intentional? I don't know if there's any corroborating evidence that substantiates the theory, but it look, I mean I would take I would be willing to go down the rabbit hole with that one. At least to me, that type of theory is more interesting to me than like we never went to the moon or the earth is flat kind of nonsense. So.
Yeah, I think this thing about Titanic versus Olympus that's just confusing the matter. It was the Titanic. How many times have we been? Everybody's got to be in on these scams for them to work.
Well, but you understand, it's just like the insurance companies that underwrote all of these big ships, and this is like fraud. It was as prolific then as it is today. Yeah. And when somebody can't afford to they can no longer pay the bill. They destroy it. And I mean, this is kind of not a dissimilar thing that happened to the World Trade Towers.
Okay, but you're making a different point here.
Sorry?
You're making a different point here.
No, it's the same point.
Well, but his point is that certain people were assassinated, but you're talking about insurance fraud.
Well, I mean, it's multifold, right? So you have this, it's a power play and it's a money, grab. Mm-hmm. That's either the two are generally inseparable. So, in other words, who was it that said like never let a tragedy or something like that go to waste?
That would have been Mr. Emanuel. Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's just like how can you turn a crisis into a cash cow, basically? Yeah. So that what they do is they hedge on, this is where all of that bullshit, comes into play.
Okay. Well, you see, the thing that's being implied here, which is worth exploring, is that whatever was done with respect to the Titanic, whether it was insurance fraud or to kill certain people on board,
or both,
you find a pattern. Okay, dare I mention I'm going to call it this: the Jewish conspiracy of 9/11. Right, the argument that the Twin Towers were brought down by the Israeli government. Okay, and so Mr. Silverstein left at a convenient time, right? So
sure.
Mr. Silverstein would have had foreknowledge of it. So I'm just wondering how that would have affected his disposition towards his insurance policies.
What do you mean?
Well, if he is responsible for the buildings, he wanted to make sure that he gets paid the proper insurance for the destruction of these buildings.
Well, right, but this is a point that Alex Jones was making at a while ago, where it's like the policy was taken out, I believe, maybe 1 or 2 months before the actual incident.
That's called planning ahead. Yep.
Sure. Yeah. And of course, there was also construction. Nobody knew what they were actually doing in the building. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember how much of the building was actually vacant, but I understand that a good portion or chunk of both of those buildings were vacant. So it would have been convenient perhaps for them to put explosives, demolition type explosives and stuff into the building.
Dare I bring my comments about barium last night?
Well, and thermite too.
Yeah, well, thermite is high heat. Explosive power would be using barium with, say, PETN or PETN is related to TNT. All right, so those sort of standard explosives. But then the point is, barium somehow strengthens the force of the chemical reaction. And when you're dealing with a building of that size, you would definitely want to have something like barium for insurance. Just saying. So the
other component to all that was they wouldn't allow anybody to examine any of the rubble, the evidence, or whatever. They carted it away like really, really rather quickly. I mean, like almost like with military precision.
Let's see. All right. See if I can get a quick answer here. All right. So yes, who was making the point here? Okay, Evil Empire wanted to weigh in on this, reminding us that the Rothschilds were originally Russian Jews from a region called the Settlement of the Pale. P-A-L-E. So, okay, so, I mean, I see no reason to quarrel with that. I would say that's probably historically accurate information. Cool. I'm not sure it tells us much more about them other than that there was a large family. And like the point I was making, you had a number of Jewish people who were, as they called them, money changers. And Jewish money changers were very much a part of European history going back to whatever, 12th century. You know, how many stories do we have about kings who were bankrupt and they had to turn to the Jewish moneylenders to get out of trouble? How many of those stories do we have to talk about?
Sure.
You know?
Exactly.
So anyway, yeah. So anyway. So Tucker. He is talking about a third party.
Okay.
Right. So I'm beginning to think he's a little full of himself if he thinks he can start a third party and be successful.
Why would you think that?
What is the history of third parties in America?
Well, they generally end up being spoilers for the establishment, for one side or the other.
And then they disappear.
Well, okay. But I mean, I think the history of our country has a history of more than two parties from the beginning. And I think that as, the decades wore on, what was it? The Whigs became the Republicans or whatever. And then
the Democrats. I think the Whigs became the Democrats.
No, I think the Whigs were originally, or the Republicans were Whigs before they were Republicans. Then you had the Dixie.
Well, Jefferson had what was called the Democrat-Republican Party, which was in conflict with the Federalist Party.
Right. Look, I'm okay with it. I was a Reform Party member. I voted for Ross Perot. He got 20%. Nobody thought he would get 20%.
Yeah.
But I think that his party was sabotaged from within. So you have to
tell you my favorite sabotage story?
By all means.
This, to me, for everything that we despise about politics, nothing tells the story better than this. So there they were at the Reform Party convention. A group of people decided to go off into a room and caucus by themselves. Other members of the convention were so insulted that they were being shut out. So they go to this room, they're banging on the door, demanding to be let in. And while they're demanding to be let in, people in the room were so insulted by the other people in the room, they came charging out, never to come back again. I find that hilarious. People cannot figure themselves out worth a damn when it comes to politics. All right.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. So the other thing about Tucker, though, I guess what Evil Empire is trying to get at here is where has Tucker gone, so to speak? Okay. And you and I haven't really tussled over Tucker. I think you're a little bit more of a supporter of him than I am.
I mean, look, I don't particularly care for some of the kooky like stuff that he Tucker seems to me to be somewhat impressionable if there's
okay,
and he'll give a person if he thinks that like the UFO stuff, and there's a few other things that I'm not on board with that he has sort of um uh called attention to or given an audience to or whatever, that I'm just not on board with. I'm probably a bit more pragmatic than he is in terms of my political views. But I don't know that I guess part of me wonders if he just gives a lot of these what I would call kooky stories an audience because they're titillating and it's kind of like tabloid type, whatever, just to kind of keep the ball rolling and the audience going and stuff. I don't know that he actually, God only knows whether he actually believes a lot of those things or not. But, and I've long been of the opinion, like, let's talk just like this, sort of talk a little bit about the UFO thing. And we've talked about this before.
All right. So it was Eli. It was Eli brought it up. Just saying. Anyway.
Right. So, yeah, for me, the UFO thing started with, the Halloween broadcast, and Orson Welles did the Halloween broadcast, and many people took it seriously. They didn't realize it was a dramatization. And and I think, and of course, Edward Bernays' propaganda, which was written like around the turn of the.
So how are these connected to Tucker?
Well, let me flush the idea out, okay, first, and then I'll, So, Tucker seems to think. I think there have been a few people out there, and Tim Burchett, I think he's one of the state representatives. Well, he's like, if you've seen what I've seen, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, whatever.
He comes across as believable.
Look. My stepfather was an ardent UFO guy. He used to go to all the UFO conventions.
He did?
He yes.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, not all of them, but he went. If they were coming, if there were UFO conferences or whatever coming to the New York tri-state area, he was there. Now, I was maybe 10, I was like 10, 11 or 12 at the time. And I got to meet the famous or infamous, whatever you will, Betty Hill. Oh, Betty Hill, right. So there was the Barney and Betty Hill incident. They were up in New Hampshire, and they were purportedly abductees. Now, I have since in my adult life seen videos that have debunked a lot of Betty Hill. And when I went to New York City and I met her, my opinion of her was that she was probably maybe even a bit of a lush, like an alcoholic.
No, right. You've said this before.
Yeah. So that was kind of the impression I was left with as a child. And then when I went to watch the analysis of the type of personalities that Barney Hill was and that Betty Hill was, Betty Hill was kind of she had the more influence of the two, or whatever. Now, I can't remember how they arrived, but mental suggestions, and the government has experimented with projecting suggestions into people, where in other words, your thoughts are not your own kind of thing. And I've also been of the opinion, I don't think we've needed machinery in order to manipulate people. People have been manipulated through, spiritual wickedness in high places. Maybe if you want to call it voodoo or witchcraft or whatever, those are other means and ways of manipulating or controlling people, this and that sort of thing. So how does this relate to Tucker? Well, I don't believe in little green men. I think if I wish Tucker would have other guests on his program where the scientists, I can't remember, there's a few really good scientists out there, but they talk about like even from just a secular point of view, let's just like leave religion out of it. Even from a secular point of view, the probability of life, an intelligent life, the way we gauge intelligent life in the universe is so highly improbable it almost even defies any kind of logic.
Well, other people have a different math on that subject.
Well, look, fine, show me the math, and then I'll take a look at it, and I'll make an assessment about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
DJ Ricky Smith is going to try to come and log in with us. But look, so I think that the whole UFO and little green men thing is a red herring. It's a paper tiger, whatever you want to call it. It's just a distraction. Right. I don't think that there's any. What I think a lot of that stuff is military technology or the development of military technologies that have not been revealed to the public, that have been they've kept secret, but they use the UFO backdrop so that people are distracted by all that, but they're not really paying attention to what the real thing is. I mean, in magic, they call it misdirection. So I think that things like flat Earth and the fake Apollo missions, conspiracy and flat Earth and all that stuff is just, it's just distractions, misdirections. That's what I think.
All right. So what about we'll say ancient for lack of a better term, ancient cultural accounts of UFOs?
Well, you're talking about people who are inferring from they're
not inferring anything. We're talking about they're talking about direct experiences with aliens.
Who is?
American Indians, African tribes.
Okay, vis-a-vis what? How are they intimating that? How are they intimating that that information or disseminating that information? Through
conversation with anthropologists. So you have anthropologists crawling all over this planet, investigating different cultures.
Okay, look, I'm gonna approach it this way. A lot of ancient cultures saw things, and they would they would say, well, this is what it is, or this is what I saw, and that's what it was to them. And we've found that when we've heard explanations like that, there's generally a more scientific explanation or a more practical explanation back of what they think they saw. So this is tantamount to the person seeing what would amount to glare or something in the glass, and they would say, well, I know what I saw, and it was right there, and it was moving with me or whatever.
Nice try. I mean, you're like all the government denials of UFOs that were in the Blue Book.
Look, I've not seen any credible evidence. All right. So no credible. And I really have a hard, the reason why I have a hard time with it is because you're supposed to be the science guy. You're supposed to be the guy who says, show me, don't tell me. And yet you appeal to conjecture. You appeal to, it's all straw men. Well, it is. They're all straw man arguments.
No, not at all.
Yeah, they are.
No, well, maybe.
Well, now you're using the ipsa dixit fallacy because I said so.
Well, we're having the conversation right here. Who else can I point to? The issue here is that I'll put it simple. If you decide something doesn't exist and you don't look for it, it will continue to not exist. If you decide that you're going to look for something and you find information that makes you stop and pause and think and consider, you might find yourself saying different things.
Yeah, this is kind of the same sort of rhetorical tactic, flat Earth.
No, it's not a rhetorical tactic.
It is.
It's a hint.
It is.
It's a hint. No, it's a hint.
No, you're saying,
yes, it's a hint.
Considering something, yada, 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 yada. this is a rhetorical tactic, and the same kind of thing that flat earthers will say. If you've never considered it before, open your mind, maybe consider it. Look, I've had nearly a half a century of exposure to all of this stuff. Okay. And so what you're doing is you're just what you're doing is you're marginalizing my life's experience by saying that I haven't considered, when in fact I have, because I've been immersed in it. And so I listen to everybody. I listen to explanations that sound plausible and realistic. And then I look for people that say, well, this was debunked. So I'll listen to them and see if that has any meat on the bone. Right. Okay. So, you know, it's kind of like the Occam's razor. Okay, usually the only explanation is the simplest explanation.
Special note, if you're willing, I would like to share some things with you for your consideration, which I would say raise questions about your analysis of whether or not UFOs are real. Okay. I would like to share those things with you because they're certainly not a part of the discussion here. And I would be most curious to see what your reaction would be to that information. So that said, what's going on here? Occam razor, good one. What do I know? Let's say using the technology we've got now to translate the more abstract concepts now. I don't think that technology exists. Are you talking about AI, Eli, when you say that? Technology we got now to translate the more abstract concepts now. Curious thing. Yes, yes, we did go to the moon. That's a given. You're going to have to explain to me how we put that little reflecting mirror there on the moon that we direct the lasers at. How did that get there? Okay. Let's see, what's the other thing here? I'm curious. Yeah, but is that? Yeah, it's a wait. Yeah, no wait. Eric, I'm curious as to what texts you're into as far as directions go faith-wise, because respectfully, I'm curious as to why you believe the texts after committee moderations are more accurate.
The text for what?
I think he's talking about books of the Bible.
Well, you've had, I did research on this like 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for.
This is your wheelhouse. Yep.
Some corroboration where the Elba tablets, for example. I have notes on that somewhere here. Let me see if I can find it really quick here, and I'll read it to you because I found it interesting.
Right, so while you're doing that, by the way, evil empire, when you use a phrase like archaeology have been proven wrong time and again, a rebuttal is not proof. Okay? I just want to be clear on that.
What I mean, like, how can a rebuttal not be proof? If the rebuttal,
I can make anything up and say and use.
Of course, you can.
Okay, that's my point.
So, are you saying all rebuttals are not proof?
To make, let me read the phrase that he put there. Okay, the so-called archaeologists have been proven wrong time and again, but they control the narrative. Okay, which archaeologists? What narrative? Okay, because there are a lot of different things to consider. If you really knew what you were talking about, evil empire, you'd have a real problem here because there are so many different aspects to this term UFO. Okay, so the notion that if you hear something, you don't like it, and you make something up because you disagree with it, and you call that a rebuttal, guess what? That's not proof, but you think that has been debunked because of the statement a person made. That's silly. Okay.
So in other words, well, it's kind of like, you know.
Let me give
you're being selective about which facts you accept as valid or invalid.
For example, but I'm talking more about you don't like the information. It doesn't meet your narrative. So then you're going to suggest something without any proof or basis as why.
When you say my narrative, what is, so you have to define.
I'm talking evil empire right now.
Okay. Yeah, look, let's try not to like hyper focus on people that are in the comments, but we can recognize that they're there. All right. So the noted Bible scholar. So this is about a secularist who didn't have any skin in the game. His name was R.D. Wilson, who was fluent in 5 ancient languages and dialects, meticulously analyzed 29 kings from 10 different nations, each of which had corroborating archaeological artifacts. Each king was mentioned in the Bible, as well as documented by secular historians. Secular historians.
I mean,
thus offering him.
Can we just say they're also dealing with facts? When you say secular, so this is the stuff that's in front of us.
Well, okay, but no, the reason why I put emphasis on secular is because it's there's a disinterest in religious paraphernalia and phenomenon to begin with, usually and they don't enjoy making any attributions to the divine, yet they go out there and they just do science, what we would call science, and explore. So anyway, so I'll continue. Wilson showed that the names as recorded in the Bible matched the artifacts perfectly down to the last jot and tittle. The Bible was also completely accurate in its chronological order of the kings. On the other hand, Wilson showed that the secular accounts were often inaccurate and unreliable. Famous historians such as the librarian of Alexandria, Ptolemy, Herodotus failed to document the names correctly, almost always misspelled their names. The famous historian and archaeological Sir William Ramsay was very skeptical of the accuracy of the New Testament, and he ventured to Asia Minor over a century ago to refute its historicity. He especially took interest in Luke's accounts of the Gospel of Luke and the book of Acts, which contained numerous geographical and historic references. Dig after dig, the evidence without fail supported Luke's accounts. Governors mentioned by Luke that many historians never believe existed were confirmed by the evidence excavated by Ramsay's archaeological team. Without a single error, Luke was accurate in naming 32 countries, 54 cities, and 9 islands. Ramsay became so overwhelmed with the evidence, he eventually converted to Christianity.
There you go.
And then you have the Elba tablets. The Elba tablets, found by archaeologists in 1975, provided solid evidence about life in the ancient world. Elba was a kingdom that included Syria, Damascus, and southeast Turkey. The people of Elba experienced cultural and commercial prominence in their time. They established state archives, built libraries, and recorded commercial contracts in written form. The kingdom of Elba existed around 2500 BC. Many scholars have doubted the accounts in the Torah because it was believed that the writing did not exist in Moses' time. Therefore, he could not have written those books. On that notion, they date the Torah to a much later time and do not credit Moses as the author. So then you have Christ Jesus, and then a man by the name of Flavius Josephus, and that I actually have that book, by the way. Provides information about James, the half-brother of Jesus. In addition, he gives the details about James's life as the first bishop of the Christian church.
Text. Hold on. Ricky is trying to get on here.
Okay.
I'm having a linking problem here.
Well, I can send him my link.
Okay.
The link that you sent me.
Yeah. So he wants to. Can you text it to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
All
right. So I'll just send him a note.
Where is he? There he is.
Okay. All right, so Eli, you should get excited now, and it's for Evil Empire. That look, dude. I mean, this is like trying to piss through a straw here. This is all this stuff. There's so much information out there. That some people are going to get it wrong is always a possibility. Just saying. So you try to incorporate as much as you can and draw your own conclusions. Okay?
Wait, what is he talking? Hold on, let me go back to see what he's saying here.
And he's saying archaeologists have been debunked on all this UFO stuff, and it's nonsense. There's so much stuff.
They control it. Well, what evidence do you have that they control the narrative? Yes, there are some people that are seeking to control a narrative.
Yes,
but it's kind of like people have are not setting out or seeking to control a narrative, but you have some historians that are genuinely wanting to find out what the facts are. So the reason why secularists are used generally to as corroborating biblical accounts, kings and kingdoms, and et cetera and so forth. I mean, there is a history. You can look at the history. You can either agree with it or you can disagree with it, but you can't change like that. And if you were to try to change it, then you would have to go in and prove for yourself that the things that they discovered were in fact either debunked or bogus or whatever.
All right, so Evil Empire is using what is technically considered logical fallacy, which is called an appeal to authority. Okay, sure. Saying that
or an appeal to ignorance.
Okay, so this is the worst place, by the way, Evil Empire, to have a real discussion about this. So my apologies to you. But if we were to have a real discussion, we'd be laying everything out on the table, and we'd have a real discussion about the real questions over all the different things that are considered evidence.
Well, some people just don't want it to be true. It's almost like they go out of their way. I mean, like Bart Ehrman, I think, who is he was I think he was actually a minister or a pastor, and he became an agnostic. But he wrote a book. He says a genuine historian is disinterested in whether or not something is true. They just go to find out if there is documentation or evidence. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to prove a point, and they don't have an agenda, right? Yeah. So those are the people that one would generally look to see whether or not that has teeth. So if you're, and I don't understand why it is that there's this persistent need to be incredulous. Dare I say, what is that term?
Well, then Evil Empire, unmix them for me, please. So
what is that term? What is that word? There's a word indifferent or nihilistic. That's the word I'm looking for. It's just approaches nihilism. Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe anything. Well, that's not true, and that's not true. Well, they have an agenda in this. It's just like, well, then what do you believe?
Exactly.
It's like, then what do you believe? What do you subscribe? What do you subscribe to? There's no such thing as your truth. There is truth. That's a baseline. And there's what you want to be true or wish to be true and that sort of thing. And so that's why we've gone down this primrose path of gender is a social construct kind of nonsense, Yeah.
Well, I have a more, Michael, he's going to bed there. So I have a more conspiratorial view, and that is you have people who hate America, hate Western culture.
Hate Christianity.
They've done a very careful analysis, and they figured out where the weak points are, and now they're pounding away at them as hard as they can. Whether it's transgenderism, LGBTQ,
sure,
oppressed model, you take your pick.
Right. Yep.
Oh, yeah, the UFO trick. Yeah, I've heard this. What is it called? Blue something, the big hologram in the sky idea. Yeah.
Sure.
Whatever.
Well, look, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, well, if that's true, then how are they doing it? And then show us examples that are not CGI or, been manufactured or whatever. I mean, a lot of people will manufacture so-called evidence. Flat earthers do it all the freaking time. Dave Weiss, Flat Earth, aka Flat Earth Dave, or Dearth as he's commonly called, was giving out a disinformation by trying. He was saying, "Look at this NASA photograph," and he kept repeating it. NASA, for this photograph from NASA, and it wasn't a photograph from NASA. It was a photograph of some kind of dirt mound from an island in Canada or something like that. Or Ireland or wherever the hell it was. And they were the flat earthers were trying to say that it was a photograph from NASA. And they were trying to say it was from Mars. And then the guy did is they photoshopped a part of the space shuttle into the photograph. So, it's just nonsense, kind of stuff. So physics work. We know that physics works with respect to like going to the moon and how to make rockets and understanding the movement of the celestial bodies and how gravity affects one celestial body over another, and using the motion of the things that are already in motion as a means to plan trajectories and all that kind of stuff. So it's, the idea that we understood this in less than 200 years of establishing this country is to me not only extraordinary but extremely humbling. And there were women that they had a nickname for them. The circuits in the computers of the Apollo computers were copper wires, and they were threaded individually, one at a time, like if you were like manufacturing a very delicate fine garment or whatever. And there was a nickname for these women. I can't remember what it was, but the teams that worked on those projects it's extraordinary. And they've gotten some computer enthusiasts have gotten a hold of, what do you call it? Court, I'm going to send you the link that you sent me again, so we can get Ricky back in here.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to get the text from here.
Well, don't worry about the text. I sent him a text, but I'm going to tell him I'm sending him an email.
All right. Yeah. Well, because I sent him the link by email earlier, and if he can't get to a computer to check his email, then what am I going to say? Okay. So what should I tell him?
I'm sending it to him right now.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I sent it to his email, Ricky Suave.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, so the laws of conservation of momentum and all of these other sort of really cool things. And
these Here we go. Yeehaw! Where are you? Yeehaw! All right. Party down, man. Let's get going.
All right, Rick, we got to get you settled down here. Camp out, pull up a chair, get a cup of coffee. Here we go.
Well, I'm packing up an entire stage right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
But one of my guys texted me. They're like, "You got to go see this Court and Eric show right now." I'm like, "Oh boy, what did these guys do?"
Yeah. Who said this?
Eli.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
This is the best audio we've heard from you yet.
Yeah, it's actually very good.
Yeah. So what the hell were you guys talking about? They got the internet all upset.
The internet or just Eli?
I have no idea.
Well, I'd say that we'd see Tucker, UFOs.
UFOs.
The Bible. Archaeology.
What is his name?
Are you talking about Pele? Not Pele, but Pele?
Well, here you go. Come here, Nugs.
Yeah, all that stuff is in the Baalites. All that stuff is in Scripture.
Yeah.
All right. I only have a minute, let's hit the UFO thing really quick before
Yes.
you gotta watch me winding cables over here.
Yes.
UFOs are not from above you, okay? They're from the South Pole.
Ah, the South Pole. Of course. Silly me.
You guys
That's
are
why you
human.
can't fly over the South Pole.
What do you?
Human animals, but you don't see it. Oh wait, there's a light.
Where did you find? Where did you get that information from?
That's in the books, Eric. You should know this.
Well,
I've never heard that actually. I've never heard that before.
Well, all right, but
South Pole, Eric. South Pole. So
okay.
What about it?
So there are different pieces of information.
I had friends that actually went to Antarctica.
I know you're gonna go look and you're gonna give me the look the sun shit. Listen, Eric.
What?
Look at the map. You are smart enough to grab a.
Are you talking about the You're talking about the Gleason map, right?
Yes.
Come on, man. Really?
I don't know what that is. I know all I know is
look. You know how I know flat Earth is not the Earth is not flat,
dude. Trust me. You guys, I'm just telling you.
I thought the Truman Show was
because the Gleason map is designed as a circle. The Earth is basically a dirt pizza.
No, Eric, just shut the hell up and listen.
72% water pizza.
I'll give you crap for a minute. All right.
Yes.
Look, why does the UN use it as their signia?
Yeah, I've heard all this before. Yeah, why do they actually?
I heard all this before.
You're just talking about a polar map.
You know, I'm out here trying to pack up on a show, and one of my guys, Eli, hits me up. Oh, you got to get in there. I'm like, I'm not kidding.
All right, look, let's talk about. Court believes in little green.
Long ways to go.
So there's a mathematical formula.
All this mess.
It's P equals 1/20 to the 100th power, and then you have equals 7.9 times 10 to the minus 131st, and then you have 20, and then you have 20.
Yeah, I'm not mood today.
To the 150th power.
You're not in the mood. Well, yeah, you're trying to pack up and go home.
Yes, I've been out here for I don't know how many hours. I've been in the sun. I got myself some vitamin D on my arms. Me and God are fine. We hung out. We smoked a joint with them. I don't know. You know.
We always look. We get our inspiration.
Never try to have an intelligent discussion with somebody who's in altered states.
There he is.
Yeah, right.
There's.
Animal Bird's testimony.
It takes that much gear to pack up.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, I had a slave on that damn truck for the last 2 days. What was it? The hydro booster power thing went. I had to go change that out.
Oh God.
And then we have both calipers in the front went stupid. And then the thing is blinking at me. Blink, blink, blink. I'm like, you gotta be effing kidding me.
Is that because you overloaded the truck?
No, it's just it has 200,000 miles on it.
Oh, okay.
So I had to change out both. I didn't change the other caliper yet. I'll do it again in the morning. My fingers are all freaking bloody from hitting crap. But whatever. Most people can't do that shit. They bring it to a garage. They go, here you go. I don't know how to do that. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Right?
I see you don't like mechanics.
Oh, no, I don't like garages. Mechanics, they're cool. Garages,
not so much.
Yes.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. All right. So let me just. Evil Empire is really trying to say a thing or two here. Yes, you don't know who we don't. Evil Empire remains a mystery guest to us. Yes.
Oh, you're talking about John out there in Jersey.
Oh, is that who Evil Empire is?
Yes, he already told you. He told you last.
I forgot. Yeah, all right. My bad. So, all right. So he wants to remind us there was Admiral Byrd's testimony concerning the South Pole. And what was the name of that operation where they got sliced up by the UFOs? What was that operation?
Well, anything with the UFOs is like Project, what are they called? Project Blue.
Yeah.
Blue Book.
Blue Book. No. This had to do with it was an official American naval mission. It was called Operation Badass or whatever, and their mission was to go find, I guess, remaining Nazis or something. And instead, they got
the whole Nazi thing and all that other.
Whatever. All right, I'm trying to create what could be confused with a sensible narrative here, but I guess I'm failing fast.
No, you're not. You're an awesome narrator, but you're failing on this journey here of
but no, with Admiral Byrd's testimony.
Admiral Byrd, yes, he went all the way around.
Around.
Yeah, he according to your books,
my books,
couldn't find an end to Antarctica. If there was, he would have charted it as one point to another.
Yeah. Okay. I guess there's the I guess testimony that would involve flying over the South Pole. That would be one thing.
All right, Court. If you had an airplane, you go east to west all day long, okay? But you can't go north to south over the top and land back in the same spot. Why is that such a hard thing to understand?
Great circles. So
no, you could go east to west. You could leave New York, fly east to west, and then land back in New York.
Okay, Ricky, why don't you explain why stars at the North Pole or at Polaris?
Because they move out of your sight.
Could you demonstrate that in a lab?
Wait.
Well, would a lab have anything to do with the stars? You gotta have a very open mind.
No. Build a model, or show me a model. What you're talking about?
Well, a model is nothing but a theory.
Yeah,
but you're speaking to something as if it's a fact.
Eric,
and in order to demonstrate it as a fact or truth, you have to be able to demonstrate or use an example.
Eric, you don't need an example. You need to open your mind.
Stop. We're not having this discussion. Stop. We're not having this. I'm not having this discussion. I am not having this discussion. We're not having this. We're not having this discussion. This is just more. This is just deflection and obfuscation and conjecture. That's all you're talking about. You have to be able to show me a model. Show me a model. Give me a link. Provide.
Show me a model.
We have plenty of models.
I'm going to say, look.
I'm a photographer. Okay, photographers go up there and they do.
I'm an engineer. I know how frequencies work through the airwaves. That we live in an electromagnetic atmosphere.
Bubble.
Okay? Huh?
An electromagnetic bubble.
Yeah. This is an impossible conversation to have, and I'm not going to have it. So just let him talk.
Ricky, so you don't think the Earth is a sphere? So, Ricky, you don't think the Earth is a sphere?
I don't know what this place is. I'm going to tell you that. I don't believe anything that I've been told about where I was and things that where we were and where you were born. I believe that
you talked to airline pilots?
A mind game on you as a child that they throw at you so you believe that, and it's not real. Okay? This is what they do to you.
All right, so
who's died? So died? I know 2 people that have died, and they're both here. Me? Come here, Nugget. And
Nugget? There he is.
Nugget died. We both died. I died in 1990.
Oh yes,
in a horrific car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I have something to show people. I'm not here to say, hey, You want to believe all this? Go for it. But I'm telling people, open your mind. Sometimes you got to think about things, because some of the things that they're telling you that are truth are far from the truth.
All right. I'm surprised you haven't tried to write this down, because
I don't need to, Court. I'm already dead. You guys are seeing an image of me.
Already dead.
He's been smoking weed too. So.
I don't smoke weed. Nugget, do I even smoke a cigarette? No.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do shit like that, Eric.
Didn't you just say it got through? Didn't he say that Nugget was smoking a weed and he was smoking weed with Nugget or something?
That's Nugget, not me.
Okay.
Right. So
I want to clarify that.
We come back to the same problem here, which is I need to know what you regard as true. Now, if your answer is I don't know anything,
this is Rick. What Rick is intimating is a state of nihilism. He doesn't know what to believe. He doesn't know what he believes.
Listen, you brought up Edward Bernays because my boys already sent me texts, and they go, Eric was bringing up Edward Bernays. Do you really believe that? Because at this point, you should know. Edward Bernays was well, you guys call him the grandfather of propaganda. He wasn't the first one to do it either.
Yeah.
All right.
True that.
Number two, what did he show you? That deception is a very powerful tool.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now knowing that, then how can you question what I'm asking you right now? What do you believe? Believe what you want to believe. That's what I would recommend.
We have to go through this one item at a time. Now, by the way, I have a proposal to make.
Well, basically, what Ricky's position seems to be. Hold on. So what his position seems to be is that you can't prove that the world is a globe. You can't.
Out of time. I'm trying to tell you, we're running.
I can see that we're running out of time. So the more you say that, the more time we're going to lose. So let people say what they're going to say, and then we'll go from there.
I have another show tomorrow night. I have another show Sunday. So I'm not going to be back into this until Tuesday.
Okay. Anyway, let me make my proposal, Eric. Boy, we end this program and we start another one. Okay. This is at the 2-hour mark. It's going to disappear into the ether.
Yeah, but Court, I got to back up.
Okay. All right. Well, if you have to go,
all right, Rick, we'll let you go.
All right. To be continued.
It was good, Eric. Court,
all right.
I got to check off. I got to get this out. I got to get Nugget home. I got a lot to do.
Okay. So there needs to be, the parting thought is there needs to be, for me, a rational, structured laying out of what you consider true and what you consider false and what you find uncertain. I need to see that somewhere so I feel like I can really talk to you about these things. Because otherwise, all that's happening here is you keep saying false, false, false. And I don't have anything to point to.
False. Everybody has.
Okay. So this is what needs to be clarified.
Believe in what they want to believe in.
All right. I'm not happy.
But that's not. But Rick, that's nihilism. Okay, that's just straight up. Absolutely, it is.
Bridge some days.
Well, you can't. You look, Rick. You can't explain what you believe because you just stated about 4 minutes ago you don't know what to believe. So you don't have you're not coming from a place of foundation.
I said that you don't know what this place is.
I do.
That's what you're referring to.
Okay, let's make that. Okay, let's make that the place to start next time. Because
all right, guys, I got to get this cleaned up. Eric,
all right,
Court,
later.
Love you guys.
All right. Later. Nighty night, Eric.